Russell Westbrook is seemingly averaging a triple double with ease once again. But despite his incredible talents, he still hasn't won a ring. I'm Madeline Burke for Sports Illustrated here with Ben Pickman and Michael Pina. And guys, Stephen A. Smith recently became the latest pundit to call out Russ's lack of championship jewelry. But considering all he's done so far in his career, a league MVP while averaging a triple double, four conference finals appearances, just to name a few, are basketball fans taking his talents for granted, Michael?
I think we've reached the point where Westbrook is underrated. Um, it's hard to disentangle his humongous contract, the inefficient shooting, the weird shot selection, the defensive effort that can be lacking from everything he does that's positive. But since the All-Star break, as you said, Maddie, he's averaging a 25-point triple double while making a respectable 36% of his three-point shots. When you watch the Wizards play too, like a bunch of his rebounds and assists actually contribute to winning, which hasn't always been the case when he's kind of hunted those triple double opportunities. Uh, he's forcing help in the post. He's actually starting to score on drives to the rim, which is something he struggled at earlier in the season when he was a little bit banged up, dealing with some muscle injuries in his legs. So now that he's healthy, we're really seeing a star on a bad team, which isn't the same thing as one of the worst point guards in the league, which I think was his reputation or the perception of what he was earlier in the season.
I mean, he can still be historically underrated, but I think in the modern day, right, if we look at SI's top 100, just as an example, heading into this season, we had him at number 25, which I think is still probably right around where he is overall in the NBA, if not a little bit high, right? I think he might be a little bit lower than that. I know you presented some information, Michael, about how he's been recently, but we can't forget the early part of this season. And you have to look at his season as a whole and say that he's averaging just around 22 points per game, which is, his lowest total since his second year in the league. His field goal percentage is still below average for his career. And so if I'm kind of going off that baseline that we had him at number 25 heading into the year, I don't think he's, much higher than that right now overall in the NBA. There's still a number of young guards I would take over him. And a player like Jaylen Brown, I think, who we had ranked below Russell Westbrook heading into this season, certainly deserves, I think, recognition and probably is playing better than Russell Westbrook this season and deserves to be above him. So, I think we kind of pinned him right heading into the year, and I don't think he's that underrated or even that overrated, frankly.
I feel like this is one of those situations, though, where you can't really see the forest from the trees. We're in it, we're experiencing. We can't really see the macro look of what we have on the court here with a Russell Westbrook point guard. I mean, he's one of the most athletic point guards of all time. And yeah, you know what? A lot of players have been great players and never won a championship. Charles Barkley, Steve Nash. I think it's hard. You can't say that when you look back on Russ's career, which is not over yet. You're not going to be in awe of what he's been able to do. Yes, there's narrative controversy around, oh, well, him and KD and this and that. But what he's done on the court, what he is able to do is something that is worth being in awe of. And, I think people are really insanely critical of him. And I'd like to think it's kind of like that player on your basketball team that the coach just won't stop going in on. And it's not because he's not good, it's because he is good and because they see so much more in that player that you want to keep pushing him. And you know what? Everyone's going to talk about Russ this, Russ that. Don't act like you're not impressed, though.